Okay, so um, bear with me. This is my first time trying to get this editing software together and get the videos put together some sort of fashion. I put up one before. Like I said, it's just a trial run to see how the upload would go, and which I got it uploaded. It's not the best quality and didn't really have a title or anything, so I'm learning this as I go. Um, anyway, I want to just go over a little bit what's going on here. This is some video I shot back in the summer during the haying season. Um, this is probably June, July, somewhere along in there. Um, I have several videos I've just been holding on to because I really hadn't taken the time to sit down and to edit them and figure this whole process out, how I want the videos to go and everything. But um, like I said, I'm learning, trying to get better at this. So, bear with me. It's kind of a trial run here, see how it works. But anyway, back to the video here. Baling this hay, this is on some property we have here. This is probably one of the smaller fields I have here. Um, Actually, this is the first cut I had on of it this past year. Did pretty good. The second cut toward the end of the year. Um, this is in Georgia, so it got dry, and when it got dry, the I had a little bit of growth on the grass before then, and but after that, it pretty much just stopped. So at that point, you kind of get what you can get. I cut this only once this past year. Um, well, no, I cut this one twice. Part of this twice. This first cut, like I said, was pretty good. Second cut, maybe half to three quarters of what it did the first time. But again, with the weather, you that's what it takes. That's what it is, rather. There's a shot of my neighbor there. He was helping me out this day. Um, I started over here to rake this, and he came up, said, "Hey, he'd help rake it for me," and he has a loader on his tractor there. So as I was baling, he was moving them. So took me a little while to kind of get started with this one. These here you see is the first couple rounds around the field. Um, Once I kind of got these inroads off, got into it. I was having some issues with the baler, the um, the head, the feed would back up. You get maybe a quarter of a bale, and instead of feeding properly and continue to form the bale, it basically just wrap, and um, you'd have to stop and unplug the baler and start over again. You end up having a bunch of quarter-sized bale chunks, and eventually I figured out what was going on. Well, my neighbor helped me figure it out a little later on. I managed to get this field done, but it was a pain because for a while there it was stop and go, and until I finally got into a rhythm. Um, and then as hay conditions changed, it changed on me as well. So, but yeah, we finally figured out what the issue was on it. This baler, I believe it's a 604 Vermeer baler, but it has airbags, and depending on the moisture in the hay and the basically the kind of the weight of the hay. If it's a little bit dry, like this hay here, I think I cut it one afternoon after work, and it sat out for probably three days before I got a chance to get to it and bale it. Um, which normally here where I am, I can cut one day, bale the next. especially during the summer, it'll dry that quick. But this here, like I said, I cut it one day after work and didn't get a chance to get back to it until the weekend. And what happens is it dries. It's still good hay. It just dries, and it'll get to where um, it gets kind of brittle. You have issues feeding and stuff. But normally, like I say, if I cut and bale like I normally do, don't have any issues. But this one fought me a little bit until we got it figured out what the problem was. Um, I was actually cutting on another field when we found out what the issue was. But back to what I was saying about the airbags, the pressure I normally run on those, if the grass gets, I guess what you call it, thinner or drier, it'll the pressure gets to be too much and it doesn't want to. It'll stop feeding. So um, especially at on the second cut we did on the guy I partnered with. Um, that's when we found out and figured out the issue. Because I mean, I after the first I think 4 bales, after that it was pretty much stop and go. Um, I probably messed up maybe three, I don't know, I'd say about 5 bales before we finally figured out what was going on. We were doing, all kind of adjustments trying to get it to work, but just wasn't working out right. And we finally stumbled on the fact that, hey, he was let these airbags down. Because again, that hay that I cut the second time referring to, it was number one, it was dry when I cut it because, like I said, it turned off dry toward the end of the year. Um, like I said, when I cut it, it was already dry. I mean, it was bone dry. Then I could have the day I cut it, I could have baled it that same day. That's how dry it was. But what it would do is, as we let the airbags out, it fed wonderful then. Um, Now, when I cut that same field earlier in the year, we had plenty of rain at the time. We had good moisture in the hay. Um, it was a lot thicker too. Like I said, the second cut, we when the rains quit, it dried it out pretty good, and it only got so high and um, didn't have as much. But like I said on that first cut, it did wonderful with the bale pressure like I normally run. Second cut, not so much. So like I said, I've been doing this for God 20 years probably, and um, yeah, I imagine so because I started this when I was in high school. Um, baling for my grandfather. We had cows and stuff, so still do, but that's when I originally got started doing this. But you learn something every time, um, and if you too proud to learn anything or figure out something new, then you kind of get stuck in a rut. But anyway, um, this one here, once I got it going, had a few issues here and there, but for the most part, it bailed pretty good. Um, I'm doing a voiceover on this is because the camera I was using is it's like a GoPro, and I had it in my hand to start with, and um, trying to bail, hold camera, and do all of that at the same time, it's gets to be a lot. So I stuck the camera on the magnetic base to the fender of the tractor here, and not thinking that about the vibration from the fender would feed through and pick up on the camera mic, but it's bad. So yeah, I just figured I'd do a little voiceover on it. Um, as far as on this getting started here, I have some other clips of a little further on in it, and I'll add those into the recording here as well. And but basically, just kind of show you what we go through. It's a small operation. Um, Open station tractors. I wish I had a cab tractor, but um, for the amount of cattle we run and for the operation I have, it's just not real economically feasible. It'd be great just for comfort of operator comfort and ease and things, but um, You do what you can. This tractor here is probably a 89 year model, 2950. Um, I got this tractor, me and my grandfather did back. I think I had, yeah, I was in high school still then. Before then, we had a 4020. Um, Great running tractor. Um, the rest of it was just bad. I mean, the fenders were bad. Battery boxes. Anybody ever dealt with a 4020 and those flip out style battery boxes would know. But I mean, it was motor was strong as whatever. I mean, it was a powerhouse for the size tractor it was, of course. The Like I said, the transmission was great, clutches, everything. I mean, didn't have any problems with that, other than like I said, the body of the actual, the tins on the tractor were in bad shape, and because it was an older tractor, and I don't know what the deal was with the hydraulics, but um, like running these newer balers, it was um, it was constantly blowing the hard lines on it, the hydraulic lines going to the remotes. Um, well, I wouldn't say constantly, but it gave you enough of a headache. Um, and then, like I said, the front end the was getting worn out on it. Is old tractor. My grandfather um, farmed cotton, corn, peanuts, soybeans, you name it. And I don't know if he bought that tractor new or not. I never even asked. It was just always there as long as I could remember. But it had a good bit of wear in it, and so we traded it off, upgraded to this. This is a 2950, um, and I've had it ever since. I do have a another tractor I bought, a little Case D40. It's usually used what I use to rake hay with. Before I got it, it was a one tractor operation. You cut, you raked, you baled, all this one tractor, and generally just one person, me. So on occasions, we have hired help. More so when my grandfather was alive. Um, Once he passed, I kind of took over things, and um, being younger, and I was in my 20s then, and part of it's being young and not knowing. The other part of it's, my grandfather was up in his years, and he'd had time to, get himself established, and so financial wise, when I took over, I kind of had to do this all on a budget, and with the equipment I had, and make it work from there. So, um, it's come a ways. It's got a ways yet to go, and constantly trying to upgrade some things and do things better and make the operation better. But we'll see how that goes. As you can see, there's my neighbor there helping me out. He's a good guy. Helps me out whenever I need a hand, and I return the favor whenever I possibly can too. Um, but anyway, I'll probably have some more video of the other side of this field here. It's a pretty good sized field. On the other side of that tree line, there's more there, but um, just kind of showing you what we're working with. Enjoy.